Welcome to Be Inspired to Be Inspired, where everything behind you is why you are here today. Thank you for another moment in time. Be inspired to be inspired. We are here today with the beautiful Miss Lexi Owens, and she is here with her Inspire to Inquire, and we're going to learn all about how that became, and we're going to learn all about what it's, the context of it, the drive behind it, and her passion for it. So I'm introducing once again Miss Lexi Owens. Lexi?
Hi, everybody. Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is my first time ever doing a podcast, so I'm just excited to have some conversation and just spread some hope and some little bit of experience too along the way.
Wonderful. And don't be afraid, because guess what? It's my first time, not my first time now, but it's still my first time. So we're in this together.
Always have a mindset of a newcomer. I'd be a newbie. Don't be afraid.
Yes. So Lexi, tell us about Inspire to Inquire and what that all means and what's it all about.
So Inspire to Inquire, how we connected was through my LinkedIn. It's the only social media platform I'm on currently. Mm-hmm. And I actually decided to use that as my tagline. And I want to get a copyright. I always say that to people. I've had it as my tagline for probably almost like 3 years now, to kind of show, to look at the extraordinary qualities, not just when it comes to, how can I help you in your career? I'm a recruiter, but most importantly, when it comes to those personal goals as well, because, career and your personal life do kind of, intertwine and have a balancing act with that. Yes, and not to be afraid to look at those extraordinary qualities within yourself and the world around you. To help discover who you truly are, your purpose in life, and, learning along the way and growing through life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that's a beautiful thing to be a recruiter and understand that not only does someone have a professional career, but behind that career is a phenomenal person with a whole life. A whole life that they've had a journey that brought them to who they are, that person that stands before you every day. And they have a life that's happening right here and now that still brings them, in front of you to make them who they are today, to be able to deliver the professionalism that they deliver in whatever it is that they're doing. And I don't care if it's a cashier or a provider, we all have a life behind that professional identity.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how big or small your job is when it comes to, bringing the bacon in, but even just being a part of the community too. And even your family, even the smallest action is so profound, and being able to go beyond the mundane, just mindless action and being able to have a little bit more open mind to be inspired, with some of those things and seeing it more in a profound way, not in only how you approach in this present life with your career, but most importantly, personally, because I believe, you really need to not develop understanding, but at least be curious to learn about those aspects about yourself, really appreciate those aspects about yourself so you can stand strong into who you are, even if it is an unpopular opinion, or even if a lot of people try to bash you down or push you down, whatever trauma or suffering you go through, you can at least end of the day appreciate your good qualities and look at the pros and cons within yourself and life,
Mm-hmm. And you make a very, very valid point. I was reading things about you, And one of the things that you bring to the table is that it's okay to be different. It's okay to have a uniqueness about yourself. And that is something that, I try to tell people all the time, especially my kids, and any other person that I talk to, different is good. You don't want to be the same way that everybody is, and don't be in fear to be different, because I think even in the professional career, in the workplace, a lot of times there's lots of cliques.
Honey.
I love that. Wait a minute, honey.
Yes, there's been times where I really had to advocate for myself, especially in the corporate world, when it comes to that balance. I've been a recruiter for 3 years in various industries: IT, electrical engineering, healthcare. Now I'm a little bit more into life science, which is more of like the back end of healthcare research and development. But previously, I before this company I'm with now, which has been such a blessing to work with, the previous company I worked with was a lot more of a bigger company. And, I also I'm starting my recovery walk around that time as well. It's probably about 4 or 6 months in. I'm now sober and clean with 2.5 years, only by the grace of my higher power.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And, with that, I really had to advocate for myself and what I needed, not only with my career, but also to stay sober and clean. Because, if I don't put my sobriety first, if I don't put my higher power first, in learning how to really have the courage to believe in myself, I would just give myself away to anything, and it was really hard for me. I am so sorry. My dog is running around.
Okay. Hey, you're okay.
Life is life.
Yes, it is.
But actually, just one sec. I'm so sorry. Let
me
just share this.
It's okay. And we are in a moment in time, so it is definitely okay.
Sorry about that.
Hey.
I was chasing the cat, and I was trying to make sure they're in their space so they don't go all silly. Anyways, so there was a time where, I started with this corporate company. I was making really good money. I was also really learning a lot when it came to developing in my career. But then it got to a point where this culture that I was in was really focused on work hard, play hard, and really incorporate a lot of drinking, even in the workday with certain things, certain aspects. And it was really unhealthy to be around for me. And it got to a point where I was trying to make it work still, because I was making really good money, had really good benefits, and also I was learning and growing. But I still felt on a soul level, kind of agitated, irritable. It was really hard for me sometimes. I didn't even realize sometimes I would people, they knew I was in recovery because I was open about it, but still I would somehow talk into people trying to go to happy hours with them and stuff like that. I shouldn't be having this type of link, at least for me, that I choose not to have that. But it's so easy to fall into that communication when you're around that. And so I tried to be hey, let me try to do a hybrid environment, but they were really trying to lean away from that because of just how their culture is, and I respect that. But it was just I had to kind of I had to basically get a note and from doctors and stuff to advocate hey, this is not just for recovery, also mental health as well. They didn't want to approve it, and it did work for a little bit, but I really was stuck in a rock and a hard place, especially when it came to leadership. I haven't had the opportunity yet to become a leader, but I see the potential people told me. And before I surrendered to, my recovery walk, I even had a lot of people tell me that too, but I didn't see it in myself. But I was starting to develop that vision. And, my previous manager actually really helped me a lot with this vision. He even said I used to use one of my lieutenants, but I literally was stuck in like a fork in the road where I was like, do I want to learn how to be a leader in my recovery, or do I want to learn how to be a leader in this type of culture? And I had to tell my manager, I want to focus on learning how to develop leadership skills more in my recovery, because how can I be able to become a leader in any other aspect of my life if I don't know how to do it in that way first? And what I've learned, I've had to make sacrifices, and I've had to fail forward and learn from my mistakes. Trying to find my voice when it comes to who I am, the leader. How do I believe myself, and how do I believe in the people who I want to help grow as well, and help them spark that light within themselves, to believe into their own talent, to their own potential. And it's really hard, especially in this world with instant gratification and thinking like, oh, like this doctor has the answer for me, or, doing half the work, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And sometimes it can get draining and can get easily feel unmotivated and unheard. That's why it's so important for me, I had to learn how to first develop a relationship with my higher power, to find the courage to see these aspects of myself, the good and the bad. You know what I mean? And most importantly, develop healthy boundaries for me when it came to leadership in my career. So basically circling a little bit, but
okay, I understand.
I decided to.
I'm gonna make you smile. If I could tell you how many times I said and then talk around myself, and I can only tell you that when you relate to someone, you understand that circle, and you understand that be ever encouraged, and you are a leader. You're leading right now.
I'm working on it. Thank you. I'm still working on it.
We are all continuously working on it. Yes, we are. Even our top leaders today are still working on it. Don't be so hard on yourself.
There's no destination.
Yes, you're right.
So I decided to actually leave this job. Unfortunately, it was really hard for me, but I had to advocate for myself, and I tried every other option. And I realized that this job was affecting my recovery, and I couldn't have a good work-life balance for myself. And, this new position I'm in, I'm thankful that I have a company who not only let me work from the West Coast, and they're all up on the East Coast. I'm the only one on the West Coast. I told them from the gate, I'm like, in 5 years, like, I want to become a manager and have my own team. And the fact that they saw the potential in me, from the gate, and trusted me enough to even work, like East Coast time and West Coast. Like, I get up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm working from 6 a.m. My time to 3 p.m. So that's like 8 to 5 Eastern. And, still trying to, make sure I'm keeping that intention in place every morning. I love getting up that early. I know it sounds crazy, but I can set my intentions through the day. I can, and that's for me, like getting connected with my own inspiration. How can I inspire someone today? How can I inspire myself today? Especially, when I'm really struggling, and I'm asking for that guidance, because when I'm in my own self-will, I am powerless. And what that means for me is, lack of motivation, trying to control everything, trying to manipulate everything, hiding, not being honest, all of those things. Like 2.5 years ago, I couldn't tell you I had these qualities. I tell you how perfect and amazing I am. You know what I mean? But I'm not. I'm really not. And that's how we learn. The darkness is here for us to learn and grow from, and not be afraid. And
not be afraid. You're right.
You have to go through it.
You're right. Yes, you do.
Within your heart. Everyone got it, just by how you, believe or don't believe.
Yes, you are so right. And when you talk about the darkness and the light, I'm not doing a chime in, but I have a new book called Be Inspired to Be Inspired, Finding Your Peace in a Storm. And I talk about these things because if you're ever been through anything, and if you ever go through something where you're constantly having to uplift yourself from inside, you find yourself in dark places. You find yourself in dark spaces, and you constantly have to relight the light that guides you out of that space. And it's okay. You know, some people will look at you and say, she's crazy. What is she talking? You know, but it's real, you know, and depression is real. Addiction is real, and it could be any addiction to anything, due to whatever reason that may trigger it. But when you are able to, and you've been doing it for a long time, you know, nobody brings you out of that dark place but yourself. Because I can testify all day and all night, you know, you look for people to bring you out of a place and they can't. They just can't. You have to reach in and bring yourself from that dark place, because they won't even understand it. They'll try, you know, but they won't understand it. So, you know, give yourself that kudos, they say, kudos, because had it not been for you, you wouldn't be where you are right here today.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because so I don't know if you could see, but I have a tattoo on my arm and it says, she's the hero of her own story.
See?
And there's a reason for it. I picked up drugs and drinking and all of that.
That's beautiful.
With cutting. I struggled with cutting for 13 years. I didn't grow up in the best household. I still am not connected to my blood relatives. They choose not to be in my life. And I'm still learning to accept that. But I took a lot of the trauma that I went through out of myself because I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel strong enough. And I didn't feel worthy to be a part of this world. And I still am working through my abandonment, and I had to go through some, dark times at a young age. And some of it I put myself through, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful today I'm alive to even talk about some of the things that I went through. Mm-hmm. And there's even people that I know that even went through even harder struggles, you know what I mean? And being able to not let our struggles and our trauma define who we are. I received this tattoo because when I was trying to get into the industry of recruiting, I would go to interviews and I'd have cuts on my arms, and I would see them focus on my arm and not like me trying to be like, I know I have the potential to be a great asset to your company. Mm-hmm. And, there was a woman who I connected with who's an artist, and she did this tattoo free of charge just for, the simple reminder for myself, no matter where I go, like, I am the hero, and only find the heroes through within, through that light, through that in your heart space. And now I'm thankful today because this tattoo, they can see me and not my scars today,
And I'm just so like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm part of the show. I don't want to say impressed. Impressed is not the word that I'm looking for, but you are like, you're a light for someone else. And I know that you don't feel that way, but you are.
I'm working on it. Yeah. The fact that you reached out to me, it's such an honor and a privilege that you even saw me.
It's the honor. It's the honor for me, because something you said has really touched me. Multiple things you have said. One, importantly, I know a young lady, and oops, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I know. See, life happens, and we just keep moving. But right. I know a young lady who would cut. And, I would see her and I'm like, what's going on? And feeling like you're worthless or whatever the reason was, self-infliction, whether I think that the cutting maybe was another addiction.
It was only a symptom,
Okay.
behind the root cause. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to say addiction. It was a suffering. You know what I mean? And, we all have our suffering one way or another, and there's a cause for it, but there's also a way through it. You know what I mean? And we can't do it alone. That's the most important aspect. Like, we can't do it alone. And finding that community, and, it took me a while to even speak my story. That was the hardest part, speaking my story.
That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
I didn't want to say, impressive. You are brave. That's what I was looking for. You're very brave, because a lot of people will not identify. They will not share their story. Even myself, for a long time before I, wrote my book, I was always worried, well, I'm in the professional world. What are they going to think? What are they going to say?
You just saying I'm a woman in recovery and working in a sales industry. It's just, a lot of people may have different opinions about that, and you're fine to live and live like you can have negative opinion. That's cool, but I need to announce that for myself so I don't go back to that way of life. I'm so thankful for what I found today. It was so hard, because once you put the drug and the drink down, what's left is that thinking, and we all got that stinking thinking.
Yes,
negative self-talk, know, and the more we stay there, the more we turn it into an action that we truly don't want at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful, because what's helped me is develop discipline in my life, not just putting that sober and drink down, but it's 12-step work. You know what I mean? There's various programs that I do participate in that teaches me different various principles, how to own up and show up to this life. You know what I mean? Not just being sober and clean, or, being in a meeting. Like, I actually use these principles every single day with just connecting with people, like being service minded. How can I give back today? You know what I mean? One way or another. If I can't help you with the job, like, just having a real conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. To be genuine.
Be genuine, just being genuine and spreading that kindness, especially to unkind people. And I'm still working on that, because, girl, I can real quick, and I gotta keep my ego in check, and I'm learning how to mature it today.
Wonderful. That is so wonderful. During recovery with any addiction, you even mentioned, there are times where you may not even feel the light. So tell me, Lexi, because the show is about being inspired to be inspired. What keeps you inspired? What keeps you motivated and grounded?
What keeps me motivated and grounded? My dogs are all over the place. Sorry. What keeps me grounded, truthfully, a lot of different things. First and foremost, my faith in a higher power of my understanding, which is not just something that I had to create, a relationship that I had to envision and incorporate. Because before I took this path, I knew of a God where it was more religious focus, where it's like, do these things so you can go to this place. Or, don't sin, or so you could do this. And instead, I've learned how to develop a relationship with a higher power and a faith that is unseen, but I can trust in it, especially through uncertainty and hard times, especially through those times, having a conscious contact, talking to it. Even if I'm not speaking with words, it knows my heart. It knows all of our hearts, despite if you want to believe into it or not. Believe to see, not see to believe. That's what I'm learning today, and that's what keeps me inspired every morning, just trying to make that effort to just be like, attitude of gratitude. So most importantly, having an attitude of gratitude with the things I've lost, not just gained. Because I realized as I'm learning to let go and give it to this faith that is unseen, it leaves space for new to grow, for new to develop, for things that might be even greater than I ever imagined. I couldn't even have traveled across country from Philadelphia to Denver without being inspired and taking that leap of faith and trusting whatever happens, I didn't know was going to what's going to happen, but know I was going to be okay regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And also too, developing a support system, because for so long I felt alone, but still keeping faith to that uncertainty that eventually I was going to be where I need to belong. And I'm starting to find my place now. And it's hard some days. Like, there's some days where I don't want to keep the faith. There's some days where, I'm just too tired to pray. You know what I mean? But at the very least, I just do my best, even when I'm depleted, to just say, thank you, Creator. Thank you to however you identify, to the unknown intelligence. You know what I mean? To just acknowledge it, so I can just meet it halfway, even if it's just a little bit. It knows my heart,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. And I'm so happy for you. All the new things that's going to happen and take place. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a little one on the way. It's my first one. His name is Mikhail Hawk. I'm going to let him know. Mikhail's my baby. And it's actually the Hawaiian version of Nathi, which means gifts from God.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're going to be an awesome mom.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. And yes, we're going to stay in touch. We're going to do some good things together.
Yes, I'm excited. I am so excited.
So am I. And it is my honor that you have taken the time out of your day to share, to be genuine, to be an inspiring leader that's in continuous growth. To be
a teacher, you have to be an apprentice too.
Yes. And I truly believe that. Truly believe it.
Yeah.
And
staying curious. That's another thing that keeps me inspired. It's just staying curious, asking questions.
Yeah.
Asking myself questions. Like, that's what helps me with that self-awareness and that intuition, is asking myself questions. You know what I mean? And writing it down. It's just really important to me. You know what I mean? Who, what, when, where, why. Start with that and see where it goes.
Yes. Yes. And you have such a great spirit.
Thank you. So do you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I will be in touch.
Absolutely.
Stay beautiful and smiling and inspired. Okay.
Thank you. Just shine bright like a diamond. Just like thoughts in my head.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this time.
Thank you. And continue to shine bright. I love that.
Thank you, love. Take care, everybody.
Yes, take care.